Man is not forsaken on earth. He is a child of God engaged in constructive work, temporarily clothed in flesh. He is a student in a meritorious school where he must learn to raise himself up. The human struggle is his opportunity, his set of tools, and his textbook. How childish to imagine that the mere ringing down of the curtain or physical death would settle transcendental questions of the infinite. One life is but a single act, one body a garment, one century a day, one task an experience, one triumph an acquisition, one death a breath of renovation. How many lives, how many bodies, how many centuries, how many tasks, how many triumphs, how many deaths are still allotted to us? These outstanding messages from the spirits via a human medium convey the message of Spiritism. Spiritism emerged in the mid-19th century through the findings and philosophy of French educator Hippolyte Léon Denisard-Rivail, also known as Allan Kardec. Contemporaries of Allan Kardec included Spiritist philosophers Léon Denis and renowned author Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Spiritism followers explore the nature, origin, and destiny of souls, often through afterlife communication conveyed via a medium. Throughout Latin America and parts of Europe, Spiritism is known and practiced by millions of people. Numerous books have been written that provide insights into the afterlife and the soul's immortality. One such volume is No Solar, or The Astral City, by Spirit André Luis through Spiritist medium Francisco Cândido Xavier. Francisco Cândido Xavier was a well-known Brazilian philanthropist who co-authored more than 400 books. In The Astral City, former medical doctor André Luis speaks from the afterlife of his awakening and healing within a spiritual society near the Earth's surface. This story describes not only the continuation of life beyond the physical body, but more importantly, how heaven cares for each and every human soul. The following excerpt from The Astral City describes how André Luis was strengthened spiritually upon his rescue from the lower zones. Chapter 10. The Water Park. The scenery before my eyes was of exquisite beauty. The woods were in bloom and the fresh air was filled with a gentle aroma. It was all a miracle of colors and lights. A great river wound its way leisurely between green banks, sprinkled with blue flowers. The slow-moving waters, shimmering in the sun, reflected like a crystal mirror the many shades of blue in the sky. Wide paths cut through the woods in different directions, and at regular intervals large trees spread their friendly branches, offering areas of shade in the sun-bathed landscape. Here and there, fancifully shaped benches invited one to rest. I was simply charmed, and Lysias noticed my enthusiasm. This place is called the Water Park. It is one of the finest regions of the Astral City and a favorite meeting place for lovers. They come here to exchange sweet vows of love and fidelity for their future experiences on earth. These remarks brought a series of interesting questions to my mind, but Lysias gave me no chance to vent my eager curiosity. Pointing to a large and imposing building, he explained, "That is the colony's water works. The waters of the Blue River that you see over there are drawn into huge compartments from which they are distributed to every district in the colony. Beyond the grounds of the Ministry of Regeneration, the waters converge again. The river then flows along its ordinary course towards the great ocean of substances invisible to the earth. As a matter of fact, water here has quite a different density than that on Earth. It is much lighter and purer here, almost fluidical. Noticing the magnificent building in front of us, I asked, which ministry controls the distribution of water? It is one of the rare material activities under the Ministry of Divine Union. Really, I exclaimed, at a loss for how to reconcile the two. Lysias smiled and continued with his explanation. On Earth, very few people recognize the importance of water. Here, in the Astral City, our attitude is different and our knowledge of the subject is far greater. It is obvious that all services that are created need energy and attention to remain in good order. In this spiritual city, we learn to be grateful to the Father and His divine laborers for such a gift. Being more deeply acquainted with the properties of water, we know that it is one of the most powerful vehicles for all fluids, whatever their nature. Here, water is used especially for nutritive and medicinal purposes. In the Ministry of Assistance, you will find several departments entirely devoted to mixing pure water with certain elements drawn from solar rays and from spiritual magnetism. In most districts of our extensive colony, the water thus prepared is the basis of our diet. It happens, though, that of all of us, the ministers of divine union have reached the highest degree of spiritualization. Consequently, they were allotted the task of the general magnetization of the water of the Blue River, to purify it enough so that it might be used by all of the inhabitants of the Astral City. After the ministers of divine union cleanse the water, various institutions carry out the specialized work of endowing it with nutritive and medicinal substances. When the different ducts join again at a distant point opposite these woods, the river flows away from our area, bearing some of our spiritual qualities. I was completely astonished in the face of these explanations. On Earth, I remarked, I never heard of anything like this. Man is inattentive, Lysias continued. For many centuries, the sea has kept his environment in balance. Rain has supplied him with food, and the rivers have been vital in the formation of his cities. Water is a blessing in his home and work, and is the principal and most important element in his physical body. Yet man goes on thinking himself the absolute master of his world, forgetting that he is, before any other consideration, a child of the Most High. The time will come, though, when he will follow our example and recognize the value of this divine and precious gift. He will understand that the water in every home absorbs the mental characteristics of its inhabitants. In the physical world, my friend, not only does water carry away the residues of material bodies, but it also becomes impregnated with our mental vibrations. It can be harmful in wicked hands, useful in generous ones. When in motion, its current spreads the blessing of life and acts as a vehicle of divine providence, absorbing man's bitterness, hatred, and worries, cleansing his physical home, and purifying his inner atmosphere. Lysias fell into reverent silence, while I gazed at the tranquil waters that had aroused in my mind so many sublime thoughts. Kind viewers, it's been a pleasure to have your company for today's words of wisdom.